coming to you live from my loud ass kitchen where the fucking radiator won't let me be great. Could you please not? If it's not one thing, it's another. Oh my god, this isn't gonna work. Oh fuck, this is a bust, yo. What the fuck is that? Oh, hell no. Strange things are happening in the hood. Hello, world. I'm coming to you live from the kitchen, surrounded by my beautiful plants, and I'm here to tell you a story. So, I asked you guys in my last video, in my last Wentworth video, if you would be interested in hearing some story times from me. And y'all said yes. Thank God, because I wanted to make these videos. And now I can. I wouldn't have wanted to make them if nobody wanted to see them. So I'm glad that you're interested in wanting to hear the craziness. So for this first story, I'm going to tell you the story of the first time I got arrested. So I was 17 years old, and at the time I had two best friends, and we're going to call these bitches Corey and Sammy. So they used to always go clubbing to these, Spanish clubs and shit in the hood. And I was never allowed to go out. And so one day we thought of a plan to get me out of the house and into the clubs. No, you're not going to start this again. You fucking asshole radiator. I went dancing the first night and then I never stopped going. From that point on, every weekend I was in the clubs. Shaking my 17-year-old ass when I should have been home studying, okay? One night, Corey's punk ass decides she wants to go dancing, and I really wasn't in the mood to go. And she's like, come on, I don't want to go by myself, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go with you. And I remembered that night thinking to myself, I don't want to go. Now, when this happened, I had already been like a regular in the club or whatever. There were several clubs. So there was a whole bunch of other clubs that we used to go to. And then there was one club that it was an after hour club. I'm going to call this after hours club Salsa Central. It was a Spanish club. I mean, they played English music, but the majority of the music that they played was like salsa, merengue, bachata. And then they would play like some house music, reggae. Anyway, so that night, I didn't want to go dancing. I was tired, you know what I'm saying? And this bitch wanted to go, so she was my best friend. So I was like, fuck it, let's go. So we went to whatever first club we went to, and then we end up, as usual, in Salsa Central. So we're in the club, everything's fine. I'm just like, whatever. I remember I was sitting down at a table. So when you walked in this club, I'm going to try to give you like the layout of the club. It was just a railroad layout, which means it was just, there were no rooms. You walk in and you make a left and that's the club. When you're walking in, to the right of you is the bar. And then there's tables all around. And then there was like a little pillar with two doorways. And you go in through these doorways that had no doors, like archways. And you're in the main dance floor. First part of the club was like, you could sit at the bar, have drinks, whatever, and then you go into the main dance floor, and then in the little corner over there was the DJ booth. So I'm sitting in a table in the main dance floor when all of a sudden, and my best friend Corey at the time, she's a little ass dancing somewhere over there. I'm sitting and I hear like commotion coming from behind. And I didn't really know what was going on. I said, oh, in my mind, I'm thinking somebody's probably about to get into a fight or something, because that's something that was normal for, bitches to beef or for dudes to beef, whatever. So I'm thinking somebody's getting into some type of fight and I'm not thinking anything of it. When all of a sudden the music stops and I hear yelling and I hear everybody on the floor. Everybody on the floor, and lights are flashing, and I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I look and it's fucking police, all right? The authorities are in the club raiding the fucking discotheque, okay? And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Are they looking for somebody? You know what I'm saying? Are they looking for guns, drugs? Like, what's going on? Coming in and they're flipping tables and they've got like guns drawn and they're telling people to get on the floor. They order us all to get on the ground. And I'm just like, oh my stars. So I get on the floor and I'm wondering where the fuck is Corey's ass, because she wasn't next to me. Little by little, like little small groups at a time, they started telling people to get up. And like, let's say they would have like 4 or 5 of us get up. I don't remember the exact amount of people that they were calling to stand up at once. But they were going by sections. So they started down yonder and I'm hearing them and they're asking the people, what's your name? Do you have your ID? Yada, yada, yada. And then I hear commotion, and I'm like, wait a second, that sounds like Corey beefing with the cops. And then all I know is that I hear her beefing and cursing, and then I hear her screaming and her voice gets faint. And I realize that it's Corey being dragged away by the freaking authorities. And I'm like, oh shit, this bitch is always talking shit, always running her mouth. Why couldn't she just relax and do what they said? And then now look at her being dragged away in handcuffs. Anyway, so they do another little group of people, and I'm just laying there pissed off because in the process of them having flipped over the tables, there was like, beer and drinks. There was liquids on these tables. I, that night, was wearing a brown jean jacket that belonged to my little sister's friend at the time. So the jacket was behind a chair. That chair was now on the ground. And on the ground is liquids. You know what I'm saying? Spilled liquids. So when it comes time for my group of people to stand up, I stand up when the officer is now asking me, what is your name? What is your name? I didn't even bother telling him my name. I said, is it okay if I pick up my jacket? Nicely, calmly. I asked this son of a bitch nicely, could I please pick up my jacket? And he told me no. Why would you say no to me? I'm not asking you for a kidney. I'm asking you if I could pick up my jacket from the ground. So, I had questions. And I'm like, officer, why can't I pick up my jacket? I said, first of all, that's not my jacket. You guys came in like bats out of hell, throwing tables, and there's liquids on the floor. That's not my jacket. It's gonna get dirty. Can I please just pick it up? And he tells me no, and shut the fuck up and stop talking, or you're gonna get arrested. No way, that's not true. You're a liar. In my brain, this is what I'm thinking. You're gonna arrest me because I'm asking you a fucking question? Get the fuck out of here. So I said, first of all, my father doesn't even talk to me like that. You think I'm gonna let you talk to me like that? That's what I was trying to say, but the full sentence never got out. Why? Because next thing you know, I'm being attacked by a police officer. Literally. Because in the middle of me trying to, get my sentence out, all I remember is being grabbed and being like pushed up against a wall. And now they're trying to handcuff me and shit. But I had fake nails, long ones. And so what happened? In the process of them trying to handcuff me, they were breaking my nails. So if you have long nails, you know how this feels. When somebody's breaking your nail, it hurts. So your first reaction is going to be to grab at your nail, like, damn it. You know what I'm saying? And try to hold the pain away. So, they have my arms behind my back and I'm struggling at this point. You know what I'm saying? I was not resisting arrest, but in their eyes, I'm resisting arrest. And I'm like, yo, you're breaking my fucking nails. And I'm making a fucking big stink out of it. Oh, it was terrible. Long story short, they've got the handcuffs on me. I don't remember how the fuck I got my jacket, but I did get my jacket. I think they picked it up and gave it to me. I can't remember for certain. All I know, they're now dragging me out of the fucking damn club and into the paddy wagon. And when I get to the paddy wagon, I see Corey inside. And she's like, B. Because we were idiots back then. And that's what we used to call each other. B, oh my God, B. I'm telling her, I knew it was you that was screaming. I was like, what did you do? Because when she got arrested, I still wasn't sure what she did. She was just being a fucking rebellious bitch. And they weren't having it. So they took her ass in quick. So now we're in the paddy wagon and I'm like, wow, I've never been arrested before. Am I going to have to tell my parents? Are they going to have to come and get me from the precinct? What is about to happen? I had no idea. But being that I was with my best friend, it wasn't as bad. So we're in the fucking paddy wagon and little by little people are being brought out. And so they bring out the owner of the club and her girlfriend and one of the bartending bitches, the bartenders. So now they take us to the precinct, to the 83rd precinct in Bushwick. And what happens? We're in the holding cells together. So it's all the women that it wasn't many of us. It was me and Corey. We were the only two people that were there, like people that went there to just dance. We were the only two that got arrested. Everyone else that got arrested was people that worked there, which was the club owner, her girlfriend, and one of the main bartender. That was it. Just us 5 got arrested. The reason why they were there is because the club had no liquor license. That was the reason for the authorities coming in guns blazing. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were coming in looking for a fucking murderer or something. I thought it was just so uncalled for. We end up in the precinct. We're in the holding cells. And I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? Long story short, they called, I had to call like an adult. I don't remember who I called. But I don't remember who came to pick me up. Was it my dad? Was it my aunt? I can't recall who came to the precinct. No, I don't think anyone had to come and pick me up. They let me go and I was able to walk home on my own, right? But they had to call someone. And I remember somebody did come down to the precinct. I saw a family member, but for the life of me, I can't remember what family member it was. Oh my God, I can't remember. Jeez Louise. Anyway, before they let me out, I'm in the damn holding cell and I'm like talking shit and I'm laughing. Me and my homegirl are cracking up, making jokes. And the bartender, she was just so annoyed by me and my laughter because we were leaving. I knew that me and Corey were going to be let go from the precinct. But the other three, they were going to go to Bookings and they were going to spend the night or several nights in Bookings. And Bookings is not somewhere you want to spend the night in, trust me, because I spent 2 nights in there and those are in other future arrest stories. So what happens? The owner of the club. First of all, the owner of the club and her girlfriend. Her girlfriend was in this holding cell in pain. Why, you ask? Because several days before this happened, she had gotten like liposuction. So she was like recovering from having had liposuction and she's laying down on the bench and she's shivering because she's fucking in pain. Her pain medication was wearing off. First of all, what the fuck was she doing in the club after having had liposuction? Like, stay home and heal, bitch. But whatever. So she's on the bench quivering in pain and her girlfriend is like, they're taking us to Bookings, Michelle. And she's like, I want you to hold something for me because if they catch me with this, I'm gonna, probably go to jail or be charged with something else. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had never been arrested before and I didn't know what like the procedure was. I knew that they frisked me, after I was already in the fucking handcuffs, making sure I didn't have any weapons or whatever. And so I knew that they frisk you going in. I didn't know, do they frisk me going out? Like, what's the protocol for when you're leaving? I just had no idea. So she asked me to hold 2 things for her. One was a joint. But she didn't tell me to hold it for her. She said that I could do what I wanted with. At that time, I wasn't into that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I don't want this. And she was like, do whatever you want. Smoke it, whatever. And I'm like, all right. And the second thing that she told me to hold, brass knuckles. Okay? Like actual brass knuckles. Not like the ones that I have. When I was in my 20s, this guy that I used to talk to, he made these for me. The tape is like coming out. I have to rewrap it. But he put like foam padding on them so that I don't hurt myself when I'm hitting somebody with it. And luckily I've only had to pull these out to try like use them twice in my whole entire life. And I didn't have to hit the person with it, but I was ready to go. She had me hold the brass knuckles with like, those things. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it here for you. And I'm like, oh my God, this bitch is giving me a weapon to hold for her. So I was scared, but I did it. I was like, give it to me. So she handed me the goods, like quietly and on the low. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? What if they catch you with this thing, with this weapon and these drugs? Because at that time, like, weed was a serious thing. You could go to jail for that shit. So in the cell, I'm saying to myself, what are you going to do? How are you going to get out of this prison? The precinct. How are you going to get out of this prison with these items and not get caught? I was just so naive. I had no fucking clue how anything worked. So in the end, I was scared about the joint. The joint scared me more than the damn brass knuckles did. So I some way, somehow got the joint out of my pocket and I crumbled it up into a little ball and threw it behind me. So it was now underneath the bench that I was sitting in amongst some other trash that was already there. And then when they were like, all right, it's time for you guys to go, you're being released or whatever, they let us go, and I walked out of that precinct with the damn brass knuckles in my pocket, and it was crazy. And like a couple of weeks later, the club was opened up again, and I gave her back the damn knuckles. But it was terrible. It was scary. I had to pay a fine, a $95 fine. The charges were obstruction of governmental administration / resisting arrest. Meanwhile, I wasn't resisting arrest. I was just trying to, check on my nails that they were breaking off. So the moral of this story is, if you are under the age of 21 years old, stay the fuck out of the clubs because there ain't nothing good in these clubs. All right? Nothing. And if you get arrested, right, for whatever reason, and somebody that you're in there with tells you, can you hold this for me? Don't fucking hold it for them because you don't know what trouble it's gonna get you in. I was dumb, and I was like, okay, I'll take your fucking weapon of mass destruction and put it in my pocket so that now I could potentially get caught with the shit. You don't do that. You want to use your brain, okay, because that's what it's there for, and just say no. Just say no. That's not my problem. You figure it out on your own. Unless you know for sure, you know what? No, because I was gonna say, unless you know for sure you're not gonna get caught, then it's your choice. You know what I'm saying? But that's not responsible of me to say. So don't do it. Stay out of the damn clubs. You shouldn't be in no club if you're not 21 or over. There's so many dangerous things that go down in these clubs. And I was only 17 years old getting into these damn clubs with a fake fucking ID. Oh my God. But yeah, that was a story of my first arrest. And then there's 3 others. And eventually, I'll tell you those stories too. But if you liked this video, and click like. There are more story times to come. That's it, world. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do the right thing out there, people. That's all you have to do, is the right thing.